The scariest. What is the scariest? As a longtime private investigator, people always asked me if I knew crazy stories, and I did. And then I moved into the high conflict divorce space, and people want to hear the nitty gritty, child abductions and people taking kids out of the country without the other parent knowing. And I've had those cases. Those aren't the scariest. Let me tell you what the scariest ones are. The ones where we have cognitive dissonance. It's a terrible drug, and you may have it. So take a listen for a couple minutes, because I want to really share with you how this drug that's in our soul, in our mind, gets us in trouble. How do I know? I've seen it happen with hundreds of people, but I also lived it. I'm a very private person. I don't talk about my children publicly or my house, but here's one thing that I will share consistently, and that is getting caught off guard. You have an advantage that I didn't have. When I got divorced, it was over 15 years ago. Social media was Facebook. Think about that for a minute. No Instagram, no WhatsApp, no TikTok. And YouTube channels, nobody was watching YouTube. I know you'll watch a YouTube channel where somebody says they've had their channel since 2005. Were you watching it? I know I wasn't. It's a whole different landscape. And there's a lot of information in this echo chamber, and a lot of it's incorrect. You know me by now. I give you it straight and to the point. So what happens with cognitive dissonance is we know what's happening. We know it's bad. And then a part of us says, well, maybe it's not that bad. Or we know what we want. And we somehow try to get from point A to point B, right? I know you do it. Come on, I did it too. So let me just share what happened with me. And I've seen it happen with many people. I see it happen all the time, monthly. I knew something was wrong. My kids were little. They're grown and flown now, but they were little. And I knew something was wrong. And I actually went to an attorney. I took that first step. There were no divorce coaches or strategists. There was nothing. First thing was to an attorney. I asked a friend, they referred me, and I went to the attorney. And the attorney said, look, you need to start putting money away because this doesn't sound good. I walked out of the office and I thought, okay, that's fine. And I went home. And I didn't say to my then husband, I'm getting a divorce, but I started saying words that got him a little suspicious, I think. And what came out of his mouth was the special sauce that buried me. And that was, Susan, I love you and the children more than anything in the world, and I would never hurt you. What do you think? I'm hoarding money and I'm going to leave you? That had a question mark at the end, but it really should have had a period, because 7 years later, that's exactly what happened. 7 years that I thought that this is a person who would never leave his family, loved his children and me more than anything. That's what I was told. So I did everything I could to be the perfect wife, perfect housekeeper, perfect with the children. Nobody can be perfect. And then the fateful day arrived. Children and I walked into the house. My ex had left, but he didn't just leave. He took everything that belonged to him, left cabinets open. But it wasn't just a getaway. It was a methodical plan. Bank accounts were cleaned out. House was borrowed on. Where I thought there were liabilities with taxes, there were refunds that I never saw. And the moment that happened, I thought, what was I thinking 7 years ago? When I could have been so much better off, what was I thinking? Why was I standing here now? Wondering, now what? My clients never ask that, now what? And I don't want that for you either, because that's a really hard place. And I'll tell you where all of us are with this, because I know I was too. You feel as though if you are doing anything that behind the scenes, if you're saving a little bit of money, you feel like if you're making a getaway plan and you're not telling this person, then you're being deceptive. And when you're being deceptive, you can't operate. You can't do anything, but you're not being deceptive. What you're doing is you're protecting yourself and you're protecting your children. Because here's the thing. It doesn't matter what anybody tells you, meaning in a relationship, it's what they show you. So even though I was told that my spouse loved me more than anything in the world and adored our children and would never leave us, what did I think? Money was being hoarded? The reality is that person was already checked out. That person was already making plans, and those plans did not include me or the children. And the battle was not an easy one. Now, I'm not saying woe is me. Don't sit back and go, oh, I feel so sorry for Susan. Don't. Look at your own situation and ask yourself, are you being realistic? Or do you have that drug called cognitive dissonance? Are you trying to make something that isn't there? And it's no different than, you have that girlfriend, that friend of yours. She's dating a guy and he's cheating, he's lying, and she always has an excuse why he's really not doing whatever it is you know that he's doing. That's the cognitive dissonance. She so desperately wants him to be a good guy. But if he's not being a good guy, he's not a good guy, at least not to her. Each week, I get 1, 2, 3, or 4 inquiries from somebody who knows something's not right, whose husband has been outwardly abusive, physically abusive, emotionally abusive, financially abusive, and yet can't make the move. Preparation is not about deception. You're not being deceptive by not preparing. So I want to share another story with you. You really have to hear this one because it speaks to where you could end up. During the pandemic, I got a call from somebody, was referred to me, and she told me that her husband was the worst narcissist. In fact, she was in her car. He was in the house with the children. She had 3 kids, and he lied to her, cheated on her, the whole basket of awfulness. And she said, I really need to get away from him. He's a narcissist. Now, everybody who calls me tells me their spouse is a narcissist. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know, I don't care. But here's what I do know. If they are a narcissist, I will tell you what they will do. Okay? It's not going to be a fair game. So we did this meeting, her discovery meeting, little strategy. And I said, listen, you can get out of this without any kind of harm. She'd been married like 15, 16 years. And she goes, okay. Well, I never heard from her. Well, 18 months later I did. But this time it was an email that said SOS, 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 help, 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 help. Ouch. So we got on a call, and this time she wasn't in her car. She was at her parents' house where she and her 3 children were living in the 2nd bedroom. Her parents had sold the home that she and her siblings grew up in. They no longer needed a 5-bedroom house. So they had a 1-bedroom condo with a den. And she and her 3 children were in the den. So what happened during these 18 months? Well, after she and I got off of our phone conversation, she ran to her husband with books about narcissists. Can you believe that? She told him he was a narcissist. And she told him what he would probably do as a narcissist. Basically, she gave him the playbook on how to screw her over. Well, he acted nicey nice for a while. In fact, he took her on a trip. He bought her a new car. Everything was fabulous. They were working on their marriage. No, that's not what happened. During this 18 months, he planned his getaway. He got an attorney, the best one he could buy. And you know what else he did? Closed up bank accounts. You know what else he did? He changed passcodes to bank accounts. And you know what else he did? he conflicted her out. He conflicted her out of all the lawyers, which means he talked to all lawyers, family law, divorce lawyers, within like 100-mile radius of their home. And since he talked to them, they can now not talk to her. I will discuss that in another video. So here she was, no attorney, no ability to get an attorney, no money to get an attorney, living with 3 children with her parents. Oh, and she's in a room with 3 kids. It's like 2 girls and a boy. Okay, and they're like teenagers now. So this is not 3 little kids and you have little bunk beds. No, it's not like that at all. It was really a horrible situation. And her SOS help message was, Susan, what can we do now? There is a big difference between what she could have done 18 months prior versus what she is now forced to do. That old saying, and I know this is so old lady saying, haste makes waste, but it never goes out of style. It's so true. Her situation could have been different. My situation, the moment an attorney said to me, start saving money because you may need a getaway. You need to plan. Cognitive dissonance got in the way and I heard. And then look what happened. I was outsmarted. I was outfoxed, and I was blindsided, and my children were hurt. This is really important for you to hear. If you're in that space, it doesn't hurt for you to just get your ducks in order. Because what you will do, I guarantee this, if you don't prepare and you get blindsided, you will say, like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And at this time, in our lives, with all the social media, with everything that you can learn, with all the information is out there, you can protect yourself and save yourself from being blindsided. So please consider protecting yourself. Those pauses were intentional. Now listen, if you're not ready, no big deal. I'll tell you, go into my website or click into my website, and there is a Before It Gets Ugly 7-day prep, or the 7-day guide, and they will give you a little rundown of what you need to do. It's very powerful. I can assure you, if I had this, oh my goodness, my life would have been so different. So it's really worth it. Just go into my website, susanshofer.com. The link is below. And listen, you want to do a quick chat with me? Would love to speak with you. Now, I'm going to ask a favor. Click on the subscribe button below. And this way, you will know when I pop a video up. You will also get information, because sometimes I just throw some information out to viewers. And this will really help you. I really wish I had all of this when I was going through my divorce. But now you do. All right. So check out the next video and see and talk to you soon.